Hey, what's good? What's good, everybody? So this is an update on the FTMO verification. We started the verification on the 19th of January, but we had to wait a few days. We ended up starting. We placed the first trade when I don't even remember when was the first trade, but based on how things look right now on the verification, we are currently 2% down. It was 1.96, but I counted as 2% down. And basically, this is nothing, guys. If you have watched my videos on the FTMO challenge, the previous videos and the course videos, you'll see my update on the FTMO challenge. You'll see my matrix, and you'll see there was a point where I was 3.4% down, almost 4% down, and we still came from almost 4% down, and we ended up reaching that 10% target. Right now, we are almost 2% down. I don't know why from the beginning. If only we got a winning trade in the beginning, but the reason why we didn't get the winning trade right off the bat is because the markets decided to go sideways. Not just the market. I'm not talking about one asset. All three of my assets decided to go sideways, and I couldn't really place a trade on Nasdaq because I could see with Nasdaq that it was, as people love to say, it was overbought. I don't really like using those kind of terms, but I won't say it was overbought. I would say it was too high for my liking, right? The price action wasn't to my liking, and I wanted a retracement in order for me to be comfortable enough placing a new trade on Nasdaq. So Nasdaq has been retracing, so you can completely now I can look for trades on Nasdaq. Now I can, but we need to wait patiently and get some signals or some candlestick patterns, as I always say before, right? Since now we are on -2%, you guys should watch a video by Paladin. I think his name is Paladin on YouTube. He also spoke about this concept recently. Once my account has gone below, once my account has reached -2%, I'm no longer risking 1%. I only lost like 2 trades. I've taken 3 trades, but I've only lost 2 trades. So the next step for me right now, I won't be risking 1% while the account is here. I'm going to risk 0.5% per trade, right? Or per trade idea, as Paladin likes to say. I'll be risking 0.5%. I did the same thing when my account was on -3.4%. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. So we'll just have to wait. Here are the trades right here. We took a 1% loss on US 30 on the 25th of January 2024 around 4 p.m. We took a 1% loss. We're buying US 30. The reason why we're buying US 30, it was a buy signal, but it started going sideways. Then it took us out, and my stop loss was too tight on this one. So I really blame my stop loss on this one. It was way too tight, but losses are part of the game, right? Then there's Euro USD. I placed two separate positions, risking 0.5% with each position, but a total of 1% risk. On the 24th of January, we took a loss there. That's another 1% loss, and commissions and swaps. And the swaps were huge, bro. Minus three. Those swaps were massive. But anyway, we took two losses right there. So that's how it's been so far. This is how it actually looks so far. These are the only trades we've taken. We've only taken 2 trades technically. We've taken 2 trade ideas so far, and we are already 2% down. So that's already a red flag. Like, okay, you need to reduce your risk to a 0.5% risk. And then once we're back at positive numbers, we'll go back to 1%. This is the same risk management concept that I'll be using even when I'm funded, right? Once the account goes to minus 2% or below minus 2%, it's time to lower the risk from 1% to 0.5%. It's better to do that. It's a lot wiser. And I will have to hide my verification account numbers and stuff. But anyway, how does the market look right now? Problem is that my processor is really running way too slow right now. Let me try and lower the priority to my OBS and see what happens. I hope it's not gonna affect. I hope it's not gonna affect the recording for you guys. I hope you guys can hear properly. So you can even see on the 4-hour time frame, guys, the movement is really choppy. It's really choppy, but EU looks like it does want to fall. But I would love to see how the DXY looks. I haven't looked at the dollar index in a long time. I would love to check out the DXY, but if my network is too slow, then we won't get to do that. But as we can see right now, based on the daily time frame, there is a strong key level somewhere right here. There is a strong key level right here, but it still looks bearish at the moment. But I won't really be looking for a sell while the market looks like this. I won't really be looking for a sell. I much rather wait for more clean movement like these types of movements. I want cleaner movements like these. These are clean movements right here. This is clean movement. I want movement that is clean and precise, not movement that is wicks, right? You know that I focus on candlesticks, these wicks right here, right? This movement to me, it looks a little too choppy. So it is a bearish setup, but it's not a strong setup. To me, it looks like a weak setup, right? It's not strong. And hence why I would only, if I was to take a trade, I would only risk that 0.5%. I wouldn't risk 1% on this kind of setup. But let's see what happens on Monday. Maybe on Monday it's gonna push down or it's gonna push up and go back inside the range. You see, when it comes to these forex pairs, they are really tricky. You can see we've been ranging for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 7, 8 days. We've been going sideways for technically 8 days, but you can skip the last day or the Friday's candle. But we've been ranging for a long period of time. But you can also count these other days as well, because we've been going sideways since the 3rd of January. We've been going sideways. And on the 18th of on the not the 18th of January, on the 16th of January, it did have a strong momentum push to the downside, but still we ended up going into another sideways phase. So we've been ranging since the 2nd of January till now on the 28th of January, or should I say 29th of January. EU has technically been moving sideways all this time. So this type of movement is movements where you are bound to take a lot of losses. You are bound to get your fingers cut in this kind of movement. So this is why minus 2%, it's time to drop the risk to a 0.5%, right? And really playing with this kind of movement isn't advisable. So I wouldn't really be focusing on EU right now, but we'll see what the dollar index was to do. Problem is that my network is way too slow, but at least I got to look at one chart for you guys. I really think about it. So let's check the dollar index. Where is the DXY? This video is going to be a little longer than I anticipate, but I can't believe I published my challenge video today, bro. I was supposed to publish it like a week ago, but it's fine. I'm also gonna publish this video today. So indexcapital.com. Let's just open any of them. Oh, the dollar index. Oh yeah, the DXY has been choppy as well. This is why EU has been choppy for such a long time. The DXY is also choppy. So let's increase the priority just in case just in case the audio is it still recording. It is still recording. I hope the audio is not too clunky. How long has the DXY been going sideways? As you can see, this is exactly a mirror of what happens on EU as well. EU has been ranging. DXY, the dollar index has been ranging since the 3rd of January as well. It's been going sideways. If you remember what I showed you with EU as well, it's been ranging since the 2nd of January. And then EU dropped for 2 days. The DXY went up for 2 days. Obviously, when the dollar index goes up, the euro loses value, right? Because they are inversely proportional, right? I want to explain what inversely proportional means. You should know those things, right? and then it has also been going sideways. The current sideways phase since these last 2 days has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I wouldn't be selling EU right now. Don't sell EU. That is a trap. That is a trap. I haven't checked the DXY. I'm only checking it right now. That is a fucking trap, bro. That is a trap. But this does look like a flag pattern. Does look like a flag pattern. These are the highs. These are the highs of the range. We'll wait for DXY. Let's see what DXY is gonna do, right? So the only time to trade Euro USD, first wait for the DXY to break out. Wait for the DXY to break out, or should I say the dollar index to break out. As you can see, we have a flag pattern, right? So it seems like we are gonna have some dollar strength. It seems like it, but you know the market. If it does break to the downside, then that would mean EU will go to the upside. If it breaks to the upside, if dollar index breaks to the upside, that means EU will tank. By tank, I mean EU will drop like this. So I will be waiting on the dollar index. I need to keep a close eye on the dollar index and see what's going to happen in the next coming days. I wonder why the dollar is going sideways. It's quite fascinating. US 30 now. Let's start with NASDAQ. Let's check NASDAQ. I only trade 3 assets, guys, but I advise you guys, with me personally, the NASDAQ and US 30, I view them as one entity because in most cases they head in the same direction. Even when you open CNBC, you'll see that they say for the day stock futures are going up to the upside. For the day stock futures have been dropping, which means they don't go at the same pace, but in more or less they are either going in the same direction or one of them is going sideways. More or less, that's what happens. It's the same thing that's happening right now. The dollar index has been going sideways, right? But Nasdaq is retracing, right? That's because they're both supposed to be retracing to a certain degree. They were both supposed to be retracing last week, but as you can see, Nasdaq has been retracing from there. So I'm sitting on my hands when it comes to Nasdaq. I don't see a trade right now. I need to see either a very strong drop to the downside and a momentum close, a close that doesn't have a wick like this. You can see there's a big wick right here. I want a momentum close, a close that doesn't have a wick. That shows that for that day the market was really pushing to the downside. Then that's when I'll consider selling. But if it pushes to the upside, even just rejecting and pushing up, then we might anticipate some upward movements. But basically, what I mean with Nasdaq, I'm sitting on my hands. I'll see what happens in the next coming days. If you want to get more details on this strategy, guys, just go to my playlist. There's a playlist on my strategy here on the YouTube channel. And then let's check out FXCM, the US 30. US 30 is sideways, guys. Don't be fooled by this. It's moving sideways right now. It's been moving sideways for a few days, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 5 days, it's been moving sideways for 5 days. So you can understand why I'm 2% down right now, guys. You can clearly see for yourselves why I'm 2% down. I really don't do well in a sideways market. I may call myself a day trader, but I'm technically a swing trader. I don't do that well in a sideways market. This is why the first thing I think about when I'm trading is my risk management. So sideways market, don't touch it. Let's wait and see what happens. Sometimes even if it was to push upwards, I would be skeptical going in because it's quite high. But since it's been going sideways, if it does push upwards and has a momentum close, then the next day we might be considering buying US 30. And between US 30 and Nasdaq, one of them is gonna give us a buy, but I don't enter both of them at the same time. Just as I would never enter both GU and EU at the same time. But that's my preference based on my risk appetite, right? So let's just exit this thing, man. Let's get out of this FTMO thingy. So that's it for this specific video. We are currently 2% down on the verification phase. But yes, we are currently 2% down on the verification phase. We are lowering our risk per trade idea to a 0.5% risk. Right. If I was to place 2 positions, I would risk 0.25% on both positions, equaling to a 0.5% until we get back to either break even 1% or 2%. Once we get to those numbers, we increase the risk to 1% per trade idea. Just watch Paladin's video. He explains that into detail. I used to do that. I did that on the challenge phase. but I didn't know why I was doing it. I did it subconsciously because I didn't want to reach 5% that quickly, minus 5% that quickly. So I automatically thought, well, let's drop the risk to 0.5%. But after watching Paladin, whatever it's called, I got a clear idea that, oh, so this is how you should actually manage your risk. So that's it for this specific video, guys. Let me edit the video. Let me do a thumbnail, then edit the video. Then I'll publish it later tonight on the 28th of January as we prepare for the week.